Ready for Kid News? So are we. But first, a word from our awesome sponsor.
Hey parents, a question. What's the best way for a struggling student to beat the math blues? Decades of research say the answer is a dedicated one-on-one tutor, but those can be off the charts expensive and a gamble based on who you get. That's where Synthesis Tutor comes in. It's educational AI, the future of learning, and it gives kids a deep understanding of math and how to apply it to the real world. Visit synthesis.com/kidnews to get 10% off and begin learning with Synthesis Tutor today. Good morning and welcome to Kid News. I'm Kim. Today is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. And we begin with a first-of-its-kind race that smacks of Iron Man for our youngest listeners and the Jetsons for our oldest. Today in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, 8 daredevil pilots from 8 different nations will strap on individual jetpacks and zip across the harbor to showcase their own personal flight skills, as well as the maneuverability, speed, and accuracy of the superhero suits made by race organizer Gravity. Each suit uses 5 turbines to levitate and fly. The biggest is built into a backpack, and 4 others are on the pilot's arms. The race is a circuit, and the suits have been modified to float in case anyone goes down over water. Gravity's founder promises the event will be more exciting and have more drama than Formula One racing. If successful, the company is expected to host waterfront jet suit competitions all around the world. Odysseus is probably done phoning home. Engineers expected to lose contact with the lopsided lunar lander by late yesterday, sooner than expected because of its sideways position following touchdown last week. Intuitive Machines, the private company that worked with NASA to make the historic landing, said it could only collect data as long as Odie's solar panels were exposed to light. And based on the position of the Earth and Moon, that exposure was to end last night or early this morning at the latest. Still, the spacecraft was able to snap a few pictures as it made its descent, and again shortly after landing. We posted a link to those photos on our website. Millions of Americans are mid-ride on a weather roller coaster. After hundreds of record temperatures were set coast to coast on Monday and Tuesday of this week, folks in the Midwest and Plain states are in for a polar plunge. Places like Chicago will go from a high in the 70s yesterday to wind chills in the teens and single digits this morning. Other cities on guard for severe weather, including hail and tornadoes, include St. Louis, Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Louisville, Kentucky. But it won't last long. Forecasters say by this weekend, the mercury will rebound back into record territory, possibly proving Punxsutawney Phil right, that we're in for an early spring. That may be good news to some, but it's anything but for mushers in Maine. For the first time in more than 30 years, the longest sled dog race in the eastern U.S. has been canceled due to lack of snow. It's called the Can-Am Crown and was scheduled to run from March 1st to March 5th in Fort Kent on the Canadian border and serve as a qualifier for its more famous cousin, the Iditarod in Alaska. According to the New York Times, Fort Kent only had about 58 inches of snowfall this year, compared with the 72 inches it typically gets. Organizers say without enough snow, too many obstacles would be on the trails, making it unsafe for both the dogs and their humans. To all the future doctors listening, there are now a billion new reasons why you might want to consider Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York City when it's time to hit the books. Former faculty member Dr. Ruth Gottsman just donated $1 billion, the largest donation ever to any medical school in the U.S., and enough to guarantee free tuition to all accepted students forever. Dr. Gottsman made the historic gift in honor of her husband, who was an early investor of Berkshire Hathaway and a longtime friend of Berkshire's billionaire CEO, Warren Buffett. Until this donation, NYU was the only medical school in the country to offer a no-strings-attached education free of charge. Still to come, how Uber is infiltrating the menu of a popular burger chain. But first, we want to wish Patton LaFleur in Starkville, Mississippi a happy 10th birthday. Patton, your mom, dad, and Trouble 2 are so proud of you and love to watch you play baseball, tennis, and basketball. We hope you have a great day celebrating. Now, today's Kid News quiz. Where is the first of its kind jet suit race taking place today? Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Why are engineers losing contact with Odysseus sooner than expected? Because its solar panels are no longer exposed to light. Why was the longest dog sled race in the eastern U.S. canceled for the first time in 30 years? Lack of snow on the course in Fort Kent, Maine. How is Albert Einstein College of Medicine able to offer free tuition to all accepted students? Because of a $1 billion donation from Dr. Ruth Gottsman. In today's Kid News Kicker, when is the price of a fast food burger not the price of a fast food burger? In the not-too-distant future, most likely when you most want to eat it. The Wendy's chain is taking a play from Uber and Lyft and will roll out surge pricing as early as next year. Surge pricing is a business model that jacks up the cost of something when demand is high and lowers it when demand falls. Rideshares do it, and now Wendy's will give it a spin as well. According to the company's CEO, prices will fluctuate based on time, location, weather, and demand, with digital menu boards updating prices in real time all day long. Thanks again to the LaFleur family in Starkville, Mississippi for sponsoring today's quiz. Happiest of birthdays to Patton, and a big shout out to his teacher, Mrs. Sheffield, and all his friends and fellow Vols at Starkville Academy. And hellos to our other Kid News classrooms, including Mrs. Jennings and her super grade 4 students at Portland Estates in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Ms. Fedora and her forest friends at Serene Hills in Austin, Texas, and to California for Mrs. Porter and her all-stars at Annandale in Bakersfield, and Mr. Munoz and his kids at Sunnyside in Garden Grove. Before we go, another ask to take our quick survey at kidnews.org/survey. And while we love to hear from our student listeners, we'd love even more to hear from parents and teachers. Thanks for weighing in, thanks for listening, and we'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.